Do you want to hear my story of time?
Yeah, let's hear your story of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got, I'm calling it a brief HerStory of time.
Okay.
Because I have so many goddesses in this story of the naming of the months, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I'll just read it. I mean, we could just give it to an AI to read it.
No, you read it in your own words with your own intonations and such.
All right. Everyone agrees that time is a mystery, right?
Yeah.
Although
I
some
agree with
people differ and insist that it's only poorly understood, not really a mystery, but a universal constant. But as Stephen Hawking discussed in his brief history of time, we humans have developed our pictures of the universe in successive stories, which change over time according to our beliefs. Like this show today, we're talking about our beliefs about the singularity. Those stories have gone through many changes, and sometimes the original meaning is lost to history. And so in my brief history of time, I want to put a lens on some of those forgotten stories, and I want to help us remember aspects of the ancient world that are more alive, with mythic people, with eternal wisdom, and with some enduring memories. So that's where I started out with my look into the names of the month for 2026 and for all Western calendars. So today I have a story about the gods and goddesses of spring. In particular, we're going to look at the months of March, April, May, and June to get a sense of why these months have the names that they have. So March, obviously named after Mars, right? That's the god of war, and it seems and was a very popular month for warlords of the world to start their conquering season. The ground was barren at the end of winter. There were no crops. The seeds and the stored supplies were running low, so they might have to raid their neighbors just to survive. People were weak and desperate after the long days of darkness and the cold. And so, of course, Mars would be the god who dominated that time of the year at the end of winter before spring. But the first day of spring, you could also think of as the last day of winter. So after the equinox, when the days are starting to be longer than the nights, the weather is warming, optimism is on the rise, and the months of spring, including April, May, and June, are sacred to three goddesses. Namely, April is sacred to the goddess known as Ostra or Esther, and May is actually the oldest of the seven sisters of the Pleiades, and June, the mother of the gods, Juno, has her story. So April is Ostra, and also Esther is a little known goddess who was mentioned by a 7th century monk named Bede. And we don't really know the origin of this goddess's cult, if you will, but her influence on Easter, on the holiday of Easter, has lasted till this day. And so she's associated with the dawn, the first rays of the dawn, and the March hare, and the egg, which is a symbol of the miracle of new life. Poetically, we think of Esther as the rays of spring light that is opening the sleeping eyes of winter and calling the earth back to life, ushering in a season of renewal. And the fairy tale that's associated with her is that there was a spring songbird who placed her luminous eggs in the nest of the March hare. And this is a rabbit who actually creates a little burrow on the ground that looks like a nest. And so these songbirds put their eggs in the nest, and that's probably the origin of the Easter bunny, is Esther's March hare and the songbird of spring. So even though her memory is a little sparse, her lore, her message is unmistakable. Life returns after every winter. So she's the goddess of second chances and hidden potential and stubborn optimism, such as a sprout pushing through the frozen ground. And so May is is the name of the eldest of the 7 sisters of the Pleiades, the constellation that sparkles in the morning sky starting in spring. And so the Pleiades has always traditionally been associated with the start of agricultural season. It begins showing in the morning sky, usually in May, late May, and it means that it's time to plant your seeds. It means the frost is over, and you can associate it with all the wildflowers. And of course, the April showers have brought the May flowers. So the dominion of May, the oldest of the 7 sisters, is that she provides over fertility and birds and their songs and ambitious garden projects and the Festival of Beltane, which is celebrated with dancing around the maypole and weaving those ribbons of life around the big lingam pole. So that all comes from May, the eldest of the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. And the Pleiades, they're associated with agriculture because they rise with the morning sun at the beginning of planting season. And then by October, at the end of the harvest, the Pleiades are setting with the setting sun. And so that particular constellation defines the agricultural season. And then my final goddess for the history of time, for the HerStory of Time, is Juno, who is the wife of Jupiter and is, of course, the mother of the gods. And her Greek counterpart is Hera, and we have a lot more myths in Hera's name because Hera was associated with Zeus and Kronos and the Titans, but because Juno is the Roman version, she kind of inherited those myths from Hera. And her reputation is that she's a very jealous wife. And of course, because her husband, Zeus or Jupiter, is so philanderous, he's always fooling around with nymphs and mortals and people he shouldn't be taking up with. And so usually because the poets are men who tell these stories, Juno is presented as if she's just jealous. But actually, when you look a little more deeper, her reputation is that she is the goddess of honoring contracts and honoring your word and having accountability. And her sacred bird is the peacock, and the peacock has 100 jeweled eyes that symbolize awareness and accountability and seeing beyond illusion. So those are the HerStory goddesses of spring for you to consider.
Wow. What inspired you to do that?
Well, I guess I am just a poet at heart, and I constantly think about time and how we talk about things in time. And so since we're at the first show in the month of June, I was thinking about the name June and where did it come from and what does it mean and what stories does it evoke. And I did a whole bunch of research to narrow it down to just talking about the goddesses of spring, because there's a whole bunch of references for time when you look at the solar cycle and the lunar cycle and the cycle of agriculture and the myths of our history. So I just spent some time digesting all of that.
Okay, well, thank you. And Bobby, thank you, son, for being here.
Yeah.
And
Always a pleasure, treasure.
bye for now.
Bye, all.
Future's calling me. Future's calling me. It sets me free.